Guardians of the Galaxy is one of the things when you looked at the schedule for the MCU this year, people saw Ant-Man and the Wasp: Quantumania. They figured, yeah, that's probably not going to do massive numbers, but it'll still be good. Ended up being a disastrous flop for Disney and for Marvel. They saw the Marvels at the end of the year and thought that's going to be a nightmare, obviously. But Guardians of the Galaxy 3, that's going to do incredible. That thing's going to do big numbers because, James Gunn, the Guardians characters, that'll be safe, right? Well, now as the early projections start to come in for what people are expecting this movie to make opening weekend, it looks like Marvel might have another problem to deal with. Guardians of the Galaxy 3 box office tracking for potential massive flop. And when you look around right now, you can see Guardians of the Galaxy set course for $125 million plus early box office projections. Deadline tracking to $130 million US opening. That might seem fine, it just on the surface. But when you realize that number would be significantly less than Guardians of the Galaxy 2 opened to all the way back in 2017, that's when you start to realize that could be a big problem. We could actually be seeing a movie in Guardians of the Galaxy 3 that opens to less than the predecessor did, but also with what we've seen from Marvel lately, it's not going to have the 55% hold that these movies did back in 2017, 2018. We're seeing it tank in the second weekend, 65, even 70% drops for these things. So if you're telling me now that this movie, box office projection wise, is not going to even reach the previous movie, this could be a massive fucking problem for Marvel.
Yeah, I'm starting to wonder if I need to dial back my expectations. So once again, the Marvel Disney hater here is, I guess, going to be wrong on another box office for Marvel because I'm giving them way too much credit, it appears. I said that Guardians Volume 3 was going to make $800 million at the box office. I still think it's going to do good. I really, I don't think that this is an Ant-Man situation at all. I think Guardians has a lot of goodwill with fans, but the MCU overall is losing so much momentum. And so now I think I may have to, I'm not officially dialing my prediction back yet, but I'm considering it. I'm going to have to look at it. I mean, there could be the situation where they are intentionally dialing these back just so if it does open up at 180 or something like that, or 100 and 200 or whatever, then they can go, oh, we overperformed. That option's always on the table.
The thing is, these numbers aren't from Disney. These are the box office people are looking at, and this is based off early ticket sales. So if you can believe it, like Eternals had more advanced ticket sales at this point than this movie did. Like that's the kind of shit you're looking at. Now, obviously, those are all different. Those can, vary. And we've seen projections in the weeks leading up to it rise up and up and up. We saw it with Mario, for instance. But the fact that right now this is what it's projected at is scary. Guardians of the Galaxy 2, back in 2017, mind you, back when tickets were probably about $8.50 on average a piece, as opposed to $14, $15 like they are now. So keep that in mind, too. It opened to $146 million at the box office and only had a 55% drop. That's not what we're seeing from Marvel movies anymore. And I think the new standard for Marvel movies are massive drop-offs, 65 to 70% in its second weekend.
Mm-hmm.
And so, and also you have to factor in China, $100 million in China for this movie. And I believe it is tracking for a Chinese release, but if it's similar to Wakanda Forever or Ant-Man the Wasp: Quantumania, you're talking about maybe 20 or 30 million because these movies aren't performing well in China anymore.
Even Mario isn't performing well in China. All of the MCU stands out there, all of the Disney shows out there trying to say that the reason the box office, the Marvel Cinematic Universe isn't performing is, because of the pandemic and all this other shit. Mario has completely proven them wrong in every way possible. So, man, what a disaster.
Yeah, and I think that, I projected between 750 and 800. That was my initial projection. I'll probably stick to right there, but it could come lower. And with a $250 million budget for this movie, that is also very important. That means this is a movie that needs to make somewhere between 650 to 750 to break even. That's a lot of fucking money. So if it does 750 million, there's a chance that this movie is barely breaking even. I don't see $1 billion movie out of this. with what we're seeing with the tracking that we've seen. I don't know. I think that to me, I don't give a fuck about this movie. And it's funny because Chris Pratt's, and I love Chris Pratt, but I'm just the MCU as a whole just kind of turned me off. And it's been that way for a while, obviously. This is separate though. So you'd think you could generate a little bit of excitement for it. And I've seen it. I've seen it from people on our side who typically hate a lot of the MCU shit, that are still excited for this and are willing to give this a chance and see how it goes. We'll have to wait for opening weekend before we find out, if any of this stuff is accurate. But
people are scared, Ryan. People are just scared to go to the movies. They're just scared.
But just remember, right? What we've seen from Thor: Love and Thunder and Ant-Man, the opening weekends, it's the highest opening ever for its franchise. We saw those have the highest ones ever and then fall short of their predecessors.
That's right.
Right?
And
so think about if Guardians doesn't even get that, and then how much more it's going to fall short.
That is true. But they'll pull those LeBron ESPN stats for it. This is the highest third movie for Guardians of the Galaxy in the month of September to ever open. It's like, wait, isn't this the only third Guardians of the Galaxy movie? What are you talking about? So this is the highest grossing movie with Chris Pratt, while also having a simultaneously box office juggernaut with the previous, like they'll come up with any headline they can just to make it seem like the movie is successful. That's what ESPN did with LeBron all those years. They just invented shit to headline that LeBron did this. And they'll do the same thing with the MCU.